BBC and Bad Wolf bosses have once again given us some breadcrumbs, some clues as to the future of Doctor Who, so that's what today's video is mainly going to be discussing. As ever though, we've got a whole host of Whoniverse headlines to break down and discuss and inform you on first, and then later we'll discuss what the future of Doctor Who actually entails, because we do actually have quotes from Russell T Davies, some of which have been around for quite some time, discussing what Doctor Who without Disney Plus would look like, and also the probability of that. We're going to be breaking down the Jane Tranter interview which has been given, in which she discusses the exact deadline that Disney have to renew the deal or not, which is actually approaching faster than you'd expect. So we will be hearing about the future of Doctor Who very soon. We're going to break all of that down, we're going to discuss all of that, but as I say, first, let's jump into this week's Doctor Who headlines. For those of you action figure enjoyers, what a weird title, but those of you who enjoy collecting a lot of Doctor Who merchandise, like the stuff in the cabinets behind me, Character Options have officially released 2 new B&M sets. I say officially released, they're not technically supposed to be out in stores, but there's been multiple instances of these showing up on B&M shelves already. There's also another wave of figures out. The September range are 2 new sets, one being the Revenge of the Cybermen from 1975's story, Revenge of the Cybermen. it's those 3 Cybermen as a set, so a Cyber Leader, a Cyber Matt, and 2 just sort of chill guy Cybermen. Then you've got the History of the Daleks issue 20, which is kind of mad. I haven't picked up... you know what, I haven't bought a Doctor Who figure in a very, very long time, and I don't know if I will, to be honest. There's a lot of you out there that love it. There's also a lot of you that sigh. When I do this segment where I discuss like the merchandise, it's why I do it first, because it just gets it out of the way, but a lot of people are like, do you have to talk about Doctor Who figures? It's part of the headlines, guys. We will move on quickly though. In sad news, Christopher H. Bidmead has passed away. He was a notorious and well-loved Doctor Who writer who, I mean, my favourite story he ever wrote was Logopolis. That was one of the sort of instrumental... I was about to say instrumental in my childhood, but like, I didn't see it in the 1970s, because I wouldn't be born for like another 30 odd years, but Logopolis is one of the first classic Who stories I watched, and I've said many times, but The Watcher as a concept that stuck with me and slightly scared, but gave me a sense of awe as well. So, I mean, yeah, he's contributed a lot to Doctor Who, and it was quite touching to see a lot of lovely tributes going around on Twitter, on Instagram, for this wonderful writer. Benjamin Cook put out in tribute an article from an old edition of Doctor Who magazine in which he interviewed Christopher, so if you want to go and check that out, link will be in the description, but yeah, it's quite a good interview. But now, on to the future of Doctor Who. Not only have some Bad Wolf bosses discussed this, Stephen Moffat has been asked directly about his thoughts on the Billie Piper casting. Is she the 16th Doctor? Is she not the 16th Doctor? Does he have any insider information? And when are we going to get answers? When's Doctor Who coming back? Because it would be a bit of a shame, I can't lie, if Stephen Moffat's final ever contribution to Doctor Who was Joy to the World. I don't even dislike that story, but it is far from Moffat's top-notch work. I mean, even if he went out on Boom, that's a more Moffat-y story to go out on. So I kind of hope... I don't want him to be the showrunner again, but I hope Moffat has another chance to write a Doctor Who script before the show, or he comes to an end. Anyway, in this article from The Independent, former Doctor Who boss says show is hedging its bets with Billie Piper. Stephen Moffat says show's bosses might not even know what the role the returning actor will be playing truly is. And this article is written by Greg Evans over on The Independent. Former Doctor Who showrunner Stephen Moffat believes the series' current bosses are keeping their options open with Billie Piper's return. Now, I do think, like, it's kind of obvious at this point. I think they tried to hide it, at least at the start, under this guise of sort of what's going to happen? It's a big mystery. We know what's happening, but you guys don't know. But it's become abundantly apparent as the months have gone on. Like Billie Piper at that Comic-Con we discussed in one of my other videos. Like, I literally included the clip in the video, but she has no clue. She talked about how it was like a late casting, very late. I'm pretty sure it was like 3 weeks before the reality war went out. They went, Billie, dye your hair blonde, come to a studio, we'll whack a green screen behind you, hey presto, we're done. Which is kind of mental, but Stephen Moffat here has used the phrase hedging their bets. Moffat, who worked on the sci-fi show from 2010 to 2017, some of the best, if not the best years the show's ever had, said that he did not have any insider information on Piper's role, but feels that producers have hedged their bets. They have not said she is the Doctor. This is a direct quote from the Moff. They have not said she is the Doctor, so I do not know, Moffat told the Radio Times. I do not even know if they know. They don't. Let's be real. If Billie Piper doesn't know, they don't know. I imagine Russell has probably like a little mind map of offshoots in which this could go. I have started writing what I'd do if the show was to continue picking up from that cliffhanger, because there is always the chance it'll reboot. Like, they could do a soft reboot or just go, yeah, it didn't really happen. Like with the 8th Doctor, there was the whole revelation that he was half human, and then they just went, yeah, we'll leave that to the wayside. So they could do something like that, but yeah, stay tuned and make sure you're subscribed to this channel, because I will be releasing what I do with this Billie Piper debacle if I were to take over Doctor Who. Although Moffat couldn't actually give much insight into what was going on with Doctor Who, because he is contracted as a writer, but he's not like... Obviously, we've got comments from Jane Tranter later in the video. She is obviously going to be more in the know as to the Disney deal and the Doctor Who deal. Moffat will kind of just hearsay through Russell, who is his mate. I mean, Russell has talked multiple times about people who I presume to be like Moffat or Chibnall or other people who've worked on the show, asking him like, okay, what's the real truth? What's the real plan? What's really going on with Doctor Who? And Russell keeps emphasising he does not know. He just does not know. They are waiting for Disney. But as I say, we do actually have a rough date now that we will find out. Disney have to contractually say whether they're picking up or not picking up Doctor Who's future. But although Moffat couldn't give us much insight on that, he was asked some advice, or asked for some of the qualities that the next person to play the role of the Doctor should strive for, whether that be Billie Piper or somebody else. Now, he talks about it through a more like directing, casting perspective, because I suppose he's done that multiple times. He cast Matt Smith, obviously with the help of Andy Pryor, but he cast Matt Smith and Peter Capaldi. I'm pretty sure Peter Capaldi was actually directly suggested by Mark Gatiss back in the day, but yeah, both of them were thinking about it. Moffat says that the key to making a good Doctor is to have them attractive but odd. Now that does kind of fit 90% of the New Who Doctors, I'd say, if not all of the New Who Doctors, to be honest. There's something utterly odd, a sort of benevolent, kindly, slightly incompetent impersonation of a human being. The Doctor is never quite right. You can see this in all of Moffat's writing with Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi, and I do love that sort of style of the Doctor where they don't quite fit in. Like, they're very much trying to act like a human. They understand emotion, they understand these things, but they aren't quite human. And yeah, it's why Capaldi is definitely my favourite Doctor. Like, he's got that alienness to him, which I think, to be honest, sometimes Ncuti Gatwa didn't really have. Sometimes Ncuti Gatwa in the role felt like he was just playing Ncuti Gatwa, and the real Ncuti Gatwa is almost too cool or too normal as the Doctor. So I think the quirkiness, although I will say the quirkiness of the Doctor is something that is also within the writing, because both Boom and Joy to the World, which were Moffat episodes, had Ncuti feeling more like the Doctor than in a lot of the other episodes. Like, where he's so like Arthur Dent with his dressing gown at the start of Joy to the World, and he comes out of the TARDIS to get a coffee or whatever. Like, that's very Doctor-y. Moffat explained that the Doctor should be off-kilter, but someone that little kids would want to run up to and take that person's hand and feel absolutely safe. See, this is the thing with the Doctor. They should be scary in some way, but also they're not terrifying to a child. Like, the child who watches Doctor Who, and I feel like adults who watch Doctor Who, you watch it for that inner sense of childhood coming out, if that doesn't sound too pretentious. But yeah, some nice advice from Mr. Stephen Moffat there. So let's move on. To Doctor Who producer reveals the point at which Disney have to make a decision on the show's future. So this article is from the Radio Times, and it states that the wait continues for Doctor Who fans. A decision about Doctor Who's next season could still be months away. Let's get a collective boo in the comments. Come on guys, you need to hurry up. I mean, we talked in one of my prior videos, the spin-off it's basically confirmed that that's been delayed till 2026. Yes, for a second I forgot what year we're in. 2026, and next year. It was originally going to be coming out in around like November, December time of this year, which they haven't said it's not, but it's looking unlikely. With producer Jane Tranter revealing that Disney does not have to make the call until after the upcoming spin-off has aired. I'm surprised it's taken this long for anyone to say this, but that's official confirmation there that, yeah, Disney have to let the BBC know what they're doing with the Doctor Who franchise and property as soon as this spin-off has aired. Like, Russell originally said, oh, don't worry guys, it'll be after season 2. But I think season 2 aired, it still didn't get the viewing figures or the merch revenue or whatever that Disney were hoping for. So they've gone, I don't know, we'll wait and see till after the spin-off. But contractually, they have to let the BBC know once the spin-off's aired. And as I say, originally that was supposed to be this year, but it's looking like it's been delayed till 2026. And my theory on that is that, as Stephen Moffat said, they're still hedging their bets. They're hoping that Doctor Who can come back with a big bang in 2027, and they're going to plug that gap with the war between the land and the sea. But we could be waiting a while longer, as producer Tranter has confirmed that once the 26 episodes that Disney initially commissioned have aired, which includes the spin-off, I also don't get, I mean, tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't understand why they didn't just commission like 3 seasons of Doctor Who, rather than 2 seasons and a spin-off, before knowing whether they were going to get more. Like, I think the biggest problem with this whole Disney thing is that they went into it with so much confidence. Like, setting up the boss, or setting up these plot arcs, or Susan, or things that will probably never get properly resolved unless Doctor Who comes back in 2027. It's kind of wild. But then, and only then, does this Disney Plus have to make a decision about whether or not they want to do more. She added to the Royal Television Society, I imagine at a time when Disney are having huge cuts themselves, and there have been slashes in programme budgets, they're looking to take their time to balance everything out and decide what they want to do. Now, this is obviously the big problem as well. Back in 2021, there was a sort of mini industry boom. After COVID, the streaming, streamers, that their views had gone through the roof, and they were commissioning so many TV shows, so many new things, and we talked about it multiple times, but like the creator of Andor has said how difficult it was to get season 2 of Andor made. Originally they were planning to do like 4 or 5 seasons of Andor, but they only did 2 in the end, because Disney Plus and this whole streaming model is not sustainable. So this isn't just a sort of reflection of how Doctor Who is perceived by the general public. Obviously that plays into it, but yeah, there are bigger factors here, such as Disney catastrophically losing money via Disney Plus. She did go on to say that, at its heart, it's a BBC show, and it will keep going one way or another. Disney has been a great partnership, and it continues with the war between the land and the sea next year, but going forward, with or without Disney, Doctor Who will still be on the BBC. Now, what does this look like? because it's basically confirmed that Doctor Who will continue. People have said, like, oh, well, those quotes don't directly say that Doctor Who will continue, but I think it will. And Russell has said he's not really going anywhere anytime soon. He's got plans for a very long time. Even if it's only a couple of specials, he's still got to wrap up whatever's going on with Piper and the boss. Or, as I said earlier, you could kind of just do a reboot or a soft relaunch or something along those lines. But I trawled back through the archive to find quotes from Russell T Davies, and this is before we'd even reached this point. This was like this time last year, so some of these quotes are from over a year ago, but it's Russell talking about what Doctor Who would look like with him in charge, but no Disney money. Russell said back in 2024 that if Disney collapsed tomorrow and we had to go back to making Doctor Who on a normal BBC budget, we'd all rally around and make it. And suddenly, the stories would become more claustrophobic ghost stories, he says. So, this is the thing. They keep talking about their commitment to Doctor Who. I think they know that the fandom, as passionate and miserable as we all are, they know that it's a guaranteed audience. Like, even if they make Doctor Who cheaply, us, the fans, will still be there. Look at Flux. That was a comparatively cheaply made season of television compared to other Doctor Who things, plus it was made in a pandemic, but I can't lie, the visual effects and the whatnot of that genuinely work. Sure, by the end, well, by Twice Upon a Time, no, what was it called? Once Upon Time, the plot was kind of wiggling. I don't know why I said wiggling, it was wiggling. It was going a bit mental, but if they had a more structured plot, that sort of budget, I think you can make Doctor Who on. Now, obviously, not to make us all feel old, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago. That was like 5 years ago that they started that, like late 2020, which is a very long time ago, and budgets and money, the actors' strike, the writers' strike, all of that's happened in the meantime, so it would be even cheaper than Flux, and it would have to be funded by the BBC Studios branch of the BBC, but Classic Who was made with little to no money, and people loved that. As Russell says, like, claustrophobic ghost stories would kind of be the way to go. It's why the Flux model worked really well, because if you have, like, a 6-episode season, but it's all reused sets, because that's the big money spender of Doctor Who, is going to a new place each week. If you've got 6 episodes and you're going back to Sontaran ships 3 out of these 6 episodes, it suddenly becomes a lot more affordable. Russell did go on to say that a lot of people would actually like those sort of ghost stories very much, so he's not saying you have to have this happen, but while it's happening elsewhere, I think it's unfair that it doesn't happen to Doctor Who. So this is in reference to, like, the Marvelification of Doctor Who, if you will. A lot of people were calling for that, and I think this is one of the other things with the era, that it's no one's fault in particular, but, like, this era started at a time when Marvel, and especially streaming shows like WandaVision, were really popping off. If you look at Wishworld, that's so clearly like WandaVision coded, because that's what was on Russell's mind at the time of making it. But Doctor Who Season 1 sort of launched when people were getting fed up of Marvel, fed up of nostalgia, and fed up of the streaming model. Like, it was just bad timing. Davies also claims that despite the success of his Doctor Who reboot, the BBC doesn't have him contractually tied down. So we have sort of been assuming throughout this process, because he's said it in quite a few interviews, that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. It doesn't have to come back with Russell T Davies. I think he would and will come back to complete the Piper arc, the Boss arc, and Susan, tie all of that up. But I could see that being a short, limited series or specials, and then making way for something completely fresh and new. Russell explains that he's kind of on like a rolling contract. It's very free. Like, if he had enough, he could just walk out, but he wouldn't walk out because he doesn't want to let people down. And that's why I think, like, he wouldn't want to let Billie Piper down. He's cast her as either Rose or the Doctor. She's shown up. So I think in some way he will come back to answer that. But nothing could trap him. He will never be in a situation where he has to write things. So if, like Tegan Javanka in the Dalek episode, the name escapes me, if he's just stopped having fun, it's not fun anymore, he can just leave. But yeah, that's the future of Doctor Who. Another yay. I mean, it's not too positive, it's not too negative. We are literally, like, this is a mini wilderness years. We're living in the mini wilderness years. Like, it's breadcrumbs of updates on the show's future, but yeah, if you want to stay informed, you want to keep up to date with the latest and greatest Doctor Who news, plus a whole host of other videos, rankings, our fan film, Echo's Destiny Part 2, The Final Vow, is coming relatively soon. It's so much effort. Like, I counted the other day, there's like 50 people, 50 cast members involved in the film. It's kind of insane, and it's taken so much of my time. But yeah, new content, creative stuff coming soon, news, etc. Staying on the channel, stay tuned for it. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you!
She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.